The evening did not end all at once. It dissolved slowly into handshakes that lingered a second too long, into voices repeating the same blessings as if saying them again might make them last longer. Into the quiet ritual of people preparing to leave a place where they had felt safe. "Thank you, children," one of the elders said, her voice warm but tired, the kind of tiredness that came from giving sincerely. "You welcomed us as if this were our own home." A brief pause followed. Then she added with gentle concern, "We must have been a burden." "Never," someone answered immediately. "What burden? You are always welcome here. This house is open to you." The words were spoken lightly, but they carried weight. Houses like this did not open easily. Hospitality here was not habit, it was intention. Eight stood nearby, hands loosely clasped in front of him, listening. He did not interrupt, did not rush the moment along. He accepted every word with the same controlled politeness, responding only when addressed directly. "Get away from the city sometimes," an older man said, adjusting his coat as if he had all the time in the world. "The city drains people. When you feel trapped, send them to us." He nodded toward Ates and Merkin. "Let them breathe here. Let them remember what quiet feels like." Merkin smiled, the suggestion settling gently inside her. It sounded like a promise she wanted to believe in. "And you," the man continued, now looking directly at Ates, "you even had the roof repaired. You saved us from the flooding. That wasn't a small thing." "It was nothing," Ates replied automatically. "Anyone would have done the same." The man shook his head. "Not everyone does." "May God give you what your heart desires." A murmur of agreement followed, soft prayers, approving nods, familiar expressions of gratitude. The air filled with that particular warmth that only came from elders speaking well of you. Then the tone shifted slightly, as it always did. "Such harmony between husband and wife," an older woman said, watching Ates and Merkin with a knowing smile. "Not everyone is granted that. May God protect it." Merkin felt her shoulders tense, just a little. Praise like that always felt fragile. "Don't forget, son," the man added, tapping his cane gently against the ground. "Always leave the final word to your wife." Ates allowed a brief smile, careful, restrained. "And you, my girl," the woman continued, lowering her voice as if sharing something precious, "know your husband well. Keep his heart content. Then your words will matter in this house." Merkin nodded politely, though the words echoed longer than she expected. "A woman's heart must be kept content too," the woman added. "Only then does a marriage become heaven." The advice lingered between them, heavier than the laughter that followed. Malik stepped forward without being asked, lifting the suitcases one by one. He carried them to the car, placed them neatly into the trunk, efficient and quiet. "You didn't have to do that, son," someone said. Malik smiled. "It's no trouble. Why take the bus when there's a car?" Another voice laughed. "Why tire yourselves?" More laughter followed, the kind that softened goodbyes. One by one, the guests climbed into the car. "Safe travels. God be with you. Take care. Don't forget us." The engine started. Dust rose briefly as the car pulled away. Merkin watched until it disappeared from sight, feeling an unexpected tightness in her chest as if something protective had just left with them. The courtyard grew quiet. Ates adjusted his watch, a small habit that signaled a return to order. "I'll be in my study," he said. "Okay," Merkin replied. "I'll come in a bit. We need to talk." He paused, just long enough to be noticeable. "At 10. Merkin frowned. "Why 10? "You'll see," Ates said simply, already turning away. She stood there for a moment, irritation mixing with curiosity. With Ates, nothing was ever straightforward, not even time. As she walked back inside, the elder's words replayed in her mind: harmony, patience, knowing him well. Advice that sounded simple until it met reality. 10 o'clock. She didn't know whether it was an invitation or a test. But she knew one thing for certain: whatever waited behind that hour would not be ordinary. The house changed the moment the gate closed behind the guests. It wasn't silence exactly, more like the absence of something that had been holding everything together. The warmth left behind by shared laughter thinned out, settling into corners, turning every sound sharper than it needed to be. Merkin stood in the hallway for a moment, listening. Footsteps upstairs, the faint click of a door. It's retreating into his study. She exhaled slowly and followed. The study door was half open. Light spilled out in a narrow line across the floor, warm and controlled, just like him. Ates stood behind the desk, removing his jacket with careful movements, as if every action had to be precise to prevent something else from slipping. So Merkin said, leaning lightly against the doorframe, "Are you finally going to tell me what this is about?" He didn't look up. About what? She crossed her arms. 10 o'clock. That made him pause. Only briefly, but she noticed. "You're going to be in the study at 10, she continued. "I'm supposed to be there too." No explanation. No context. Just 10. It's placed his jacket neatly over the chair and turned to face her. His expression was calm, unreadable. "Yes." "That's not an answer," Merkin said. "It is," he replied, "just not the one you want." She steadied him, irritation flickering beneath her curiosity. "Why do you do this?" she asked. "Why does everything have to be wrapped in mystery with you?" He took a step closer, stopping well short of her. "Because if I tell you now, it loses its meaning. And if you don't tell me," she shot back, "I spend hours overthinking it." "I know," Ates said quietly. That was the part that unsettled her, the certainty in his voice. He wasn't unaware of the effect he had on her. He chose it. Merkin pushed herself away from the doorframe and walked into the room, letting her gaze drift over the shelves, the desk, the carefully ordered space. "This room feels like a fortress," she said. "Like nothing from the outside world is allowed in." "That's intentional," Ates replied. She turned back to him. "So what am I allowed to expect tonight?" "Good news, bad news, a decision." He met her eyes. "You're allowed to expect honesty." She let out a short laugh. "That's ironic." His jaw tightened slightly. "You're not wrong." The admission surprised her. Merkin hesitated, then softened her tone. "I just don't like being kept in the dark," she said, "especially by you." For a moment, Ates said nothing. His gaze drifted past her, toward the window, as if he were measuring time rather than answering her. 10 o'clock isn't about control, he said at last. It's about timing. Timing for what? For something that can't be undone once it's said. The words landed heavier than she expected. Merkin swallowed. "So this is serious?" "Yes." "And you couldn't say that earlier." "No," he replied simply. She stared at him, frustration and anticipation twisting together. "You realize you're driving me crazy." A faint smile appeared, brief, restrained. "I know." She shook her head. "You enjoy this a little too much." "No," Ates said. "I'm just afraid that if I say it too soon, I won't be able to say it at all." That stopped her. "What does that mean?" she asked quietly. He didn't answer. Instead, he glanced at his watch again, another unconscious signal. "Be here at 10, he repeated, "please." The word please was barely audible. Merkin held his gaze for a long second, searching for cracks, for signs of doubt or retreat. She found none, only tension held under tight control. "Fine," she said. "I'll be here." She turned to leave, then paused at the door. "Just so you know," she added without looking back, "if this is another wall you're building, I'm going to notice." Ates' voice followed her into the hallway. This time, it's a door. Merkin walked away with her heart beating faster than before. 10 o'clock. She didn't know what waited behind it, but she knew it was something Ates had been carrying alone for a long time. And that knowledge made the waiting heavier than the answer ever could be.